Stephanie. Oh, there we go. Love a good live mess up. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Calhoun, and I'm a part of the RecChat team. I'm thrilled to be able to introduce you all to the 2021-2022 Student Leadership Team. We're so excited to have them on today. So if you're watching this broadcast, we appreciate you being here live. We would love to have you engage with us, so feel free to send us questions either via Twitter or Instagram if you have questions for the Student Leadership Team. Or if you're watching this on the black hole that is YouTube, it's probably up here for years now by the time you're getting to it. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Be sure to give us a follow on social media. It's at RecChat, super easy to remember. You'll be able to stay up to date on all of the things that are happening within the RecChat and collegiate recreation world that way. And we'll be happy to have you on a live stream in the future. But you're not here to hear me talk today. You're here to hear from the student leadership team. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. We'll start by having Sarah answer the first question. And it's, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What motivated you to become a student leader? And what's one of your favorite NIRSA events that you've ever attended?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And everyone, it is so nice to introduce myself to you. My name is Sarah Heemstra, and I am the NIRSA Student Leader for the 2021-2022 year. I am also currently a graduate assistant at Ohio State University, and I'm on track to get my master's degree in higher education and student affairs in this upcoming May 2021. After attending a number of NIRSA conferences and various events, I really just fell in love with the way that students had the opportunity to engage with each other. And that's really what led me ultimately to want to serve as the NIRSA student leader. I knew that I wanted to set a goal for myself and give back to the community that has given me so much through scholarships and connections. And now I'm able to do that while serving as the NIRSA student leader. And my favorite NIRSA event that I have ever attended would probably have to be the annual conference in 2019 in Boston. It was one of my first times that I had been interviewing at a conference, and it was just a whole lot to take in, but just really incredible to see all of the ways that people were supportive throughout the entire process. And I'm going to pass it over to Jimmy.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. My name is Jimmy Stinsman. I'm the current Region 1 student leader, but also I am currently a graduate assistant at Westchester University within Region 1. I completed my undergrad at Temple University, got my undergraduate degree in sport and rec management. I was lucky enough to get a graduate assistantship here at Westchester, where I'm studying for a master's in public administration with a certificate in sport management and athletics. Currently, I'm the grad assistant for facilities and business operations. I'd have to say that the thing that motivated me to become a student leader within NIRSA was that I previously spent 2 years serving as the PIRSA student leader, so the Pennsylvania student leader. I served in that role for 2 years, and just to be able to get connections and really make the most of my experience, the people that I met and the professionals that I met really allowed me to want to get more involved within NIRSA and really take that next step. So that obviously got me to where I am today. My favorite NIRSA event that I've attended was, I'd have to say, my first NIRSA conference. It was my first NIRSA Region 1 conference in Annapolis, Maryland. It was just an awesome experience, and I gained so many connections through that trip. And had a great time. Next, I'm going to pass it to Kaylee.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylee Gabriel, and I am the graduate assistant for fitness and wellness at Clemson University, and I am also studying student affairs here going into my second year of grad school. Coming into college, movement was a huge part of my life, and so I've always been kind of in the health and wellness realm of things. And so starting my job as a fitness instructor my freshman year, I just got involved in rec very quickly, and that honestly, the supervisors that I've been around in rec is what motivated me to apply to this position, just to be able to give back to a field that has given me so much. And I would say that my favorite NIRSA event that I have attended would also be the annual conference in Boston. But in addition to that, my first Region 2 conference, which was in Alabama, was just a really impactful conference in my life, and where I got to connect with a lot of people that I'm still connected with today. And I will go ahead and pass it to Aaliyah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kaylee. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Valdez. I use she, her pronouns. So a little bit about myself. I currently, as you can probably see behind me, I am the fitness graduate assistant at The Ohio State University. I'm a second year, also getting my master's in higher education and student affairs. I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Central Florida, where I studied sport and exercise science. And what motivated me to become the Region 3 student leader, or a student leader in general, was my senior year of undergrad. I served as the Florida State student leader, and I got to learn a lot about how the association impacts students and a little bit more about the behind the scenes of planning different things and all the work that goes into this amazing experience that we all have. So I wanted to dive in deeper, and I learned that at my favorite NIRSA event, which was my first conference, the Region 2 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I was able to help plan that event and, like I said, see the behind the scenes and the impact that all of the work that we do is making on students and professional staff. And that was where I started looking for my GA position and networking and all the really amazing things. So it was a really, really fun time. But I will hand it over to Alyssa.
Hi, all. My name is Alyssa Moncrief. I am the Region 4 student leader, and I am a second-year graduate assistant at Texas A&M University. I work in facilities. Prior to coming to Texas A&M University, I did my undergrad at Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, and got my degree in kinesiology with an emphasis in sport management. And what motivated me to try to be a student leader was really just my past experiences with NIRSA. Starting in 2018, I worked a lot with Student Lead On. In 2019 was a Texas State student leader. And throughout that entire time, all of the leaders and opportunities really made a massive impact on me personally and professionally. So I wanted to have the opportunity to give back and kind of pay it forward to future students and to the field. And my favorite NIRSA event would have to be the 2018 annual conference in Denver. It was my first experience with NIRSA ever, and it was incredible. It really solidified my decision to pursue campus recreation as a field and pursue involvement with NIRSA. And I will pass it over to Morgan.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Felty and I am the Region 5 student leader. So currently I attend South Dakota State University, where I am the group fitness and aquatics graduate assistant. I come from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, where I completed my undergraduate degree in actually human resources management and leadership studies, so a little bit unrelated to the campus recreation field. But I started with the industry back when I was, 15 years old in just City Park and Rec, working as a lifeguard. And so I started that when I was a freshman in undergrad over at Eau Claire, just became a lifeguard and just kind of went through that all 4 years. And then my senior year, I had the opportunity to attend the NIRSA conference, which was my favorite event, the Wisconsin State conference over in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and that kind of pushed me to be to further my career in education in campus recreation. So I fell in love with the industry there through my mentor and supervisor at the time over in Eau Claire. So that's kind of where I come from, and I just love, like Kaylee said, I love movement too. So I was able to bring in my experience in aquatics with my love of fitness and combine the two of them. So it has been a great time, and I look forward to the future of that. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Region 6 with Deanna.
Hi, everyone. My name is Deanna, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am the Region 6 student leader over here. I started my campus rec career over at Colorado State in Fort Collins. I pretty much did 7 positions. I really was heavily focused in maintenance, aquatics, and facilities. When I was a senior, my coordinator was able to have an advancement in his career, so I was able to be an interim coordinator at that point for aquatics, and then I kind of fell in love and decided this is what I kind of want to do stepping forward. So from the encouragement from my mentors and NIRSA leaders, they encouraged me to become the student leader, and I've been enjoying every moment of it, really getting to know everyone on the West Coast, which has been an amazing experience I've been able to have. My favorite NIRSA event I've attended, I'm still grasping everything. I wanted to attend the 2021, but due to COVID, it was canceled. However, I did see the NIRSA Champ Series at Colorado State for flag football. That was pretty neat experience observing it, and hopefully I get to participate or also watch it. I want to bounce past this back over to Sarah, and she'll lead us on.
I think we may pass it to Kevin at this point. So
Kevin, sorry, I got excited.
That's okay.
Hello, everyone. Kevin Wilson here from the University of Waterloo. I'm a PhD student there. I guess I started my journey in campus rec at Brock University in 2010. A colleague of mine basically asked me, hey, do you want a campus job? And didn't really want a job in first year at the time. And he said, how about being a volleyball referee? I said, I got no clue the rules of volleyball or anything like that. And he said, come, you'll just get involved and you'll sign your name on a piece of paper and we'll start scheduling you for shifts. That's exactly what happened. And I stayed involved in intramurals for 6 years after that. I went back to school as a mature student for my master's at the University of Windsor a few years back. And at the time, I kind of changed my philosophy on what I do to volunteer. When I was at Brock, my undergrad, I did a ton of volunteering on campus. And I decided at Windsor that I would do as much volunteering off campus in organizations to expand my network as much as possible. So that year, I was on, I guess, a small program, Canadian student leader at the time, not necessarily with this group, but just with the Canadian student leaders. And this past year, I decided to run for the kind of the holy grail of the student leaders in Canada, being the Canadian student leader. So moving forward, I'm hoping to kind of move the needle in Canada for campus recreation research, because a lot of it's focused out of the US, and try to kind of cultivate more of evidence-based practices here in Canada. And I think now I'm going to hand it back to Stephanie.
Yeah, awesome. Thank y'all. If hearing all of that doesn't get folks excited about NIRSA and all the opportunities out there, then I don't know what will. But we'll talk about what a daily day in the life of a student leader looks like. So what's a typical day look like? How do you balance all of the responsibilities from being a student, having your responsibilities on campus, serving as a student leader, having a personal life? What does that look like for y'all?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to balance, I will say. I think that for me, I love mornings. And so I always like to start my day off with some personal time, whether that be enjoying my cup of coffee, catching up on podcasts, or maybe a reality TV show that I missed from the night before. I typically try to give myself mornings to just really soak in some personal time and find some wellness with my day to start it off. And then I'll typically head to campus around 9 or so, and every day work on different things, whether that be starting off with my GA position with Ohio State and the rec sports department, or whether that be heading to class, kind of sprinkling in some NIRSA events throughout the week, or trying to keep those in the evenings, depending on what schedules look like. But then typically in the evenings, you can find me reading for class, doing a whole lot of readings for my master's program. And otherwise, I try to get involved, whether that be now that intramurals are starting back up, or joining a Columbus Parks and Rec volleyball team. Just trying to keep some fun sprinkled in throughout it. There's so many things going on, and I really think it's important to continue to tap into that joy that I find through community. And if you ever catch me on a Thursday night, it'll probably be on Zoom playing bingo with some of my dear friends in bingo Twitter. And I'll pass it over to Kaylee.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. So a typical day for me, I also, like Sarah said, love the morning time. So I typically will have a cup of coffee in hand and get to the office around 7. So I have a few hours to kind of get all of my items and tasks together before students start coming in and my day gets just all kinds of crazy. So I currently oversee about 70 students. So when I get to campus, I usually have a few meetings with interns. I will meet with our personal training team, check in on clients, see how classes are doing. And then about midday is when I take some time for myself. I'll go on a run, take an F45 class, do anything that will get me moving, maybe outside if I've been inside all day, and if the weather's nice. And then I usually pack up around 3 or so and head to class for the rest of the night. We have super long classes here at Clemson, so my nights typically consist of class, and then I just go home and kind of wrap up and get ready for the next day. But in terms of balancing the Region 2 student leader position with grad school and with just all things life related, I always make a list at the beginning of my week that I label as have tos, shoulds, and coulds do. So that helps me prioritize like what I have to do, what I should do, and what can wait till the next week. And I will pass it over to Alyssa.
All right, so like Kaylee and Sarah said, it is a lot to balance between a GA-ship, being a graduate student, and being a student leader, but we make it work. My day typically starts, my classes and my responsibilities as a graduate assistant normally don't start until about 10 a.m. So I try to wake up about 6 or 7 so that I have some time to have my morning coffee, because if I start a day without coffee, it's never super great. So start off with that coffee, and then spend a couple of hours prepping for the day, maybe getting some homework done, because I like to have my me time at the end of the day. I like to unwind. So at about 10 o'clock, I will either head to class for 3 hours or head over to the Student Rec Center at Texas A&M and either work on my GA duties up in the office, or hopefully go spend some time downstairs with my student staff. And all throughout these days, probably 2 or 3 times a week, we'll have some form of NIRSA meeting that I'll hop on. And then my day typically ends around 5 p.m. So I can go home, get my homework done, hopefully, binge watch some TV. Keeping myself balanced though, I'd have to say that my Outlook calendar is my absolute best friend, and I couldn't live without it. I have a really hard time keeping track with a paper planner. I'll put it away and I'll just forget to pull it out again. So my Outlook calendar is really helpful. I schedule every single work meeting, NIRSA meeting, and assignment due date on that, and it's connected to my phone. So I'll get notifications every day on when things need to get done, and that really keeps me on track. So now I will pass it over to our next group.
Hi, everyone. I feel like balancing is kind of like a fun thing to do, especially like staying busy. That's like always what I enjoy. My days are pretty similar, so I always wake up early to come work out at Boise State Campus Rec. That's my go-to. Got to start off the day right, then right into it. I usually teach a Bronco Fit class, so not only do I have my GA, I do teach a beginner swimming for students at our campus, which is really nice, and I get to be in the water, which I enjoy all the time. Then afterwards, I usually spend about 4 to 5 hours doing my GA, which is really interacting with the students, doing paperwork for some lessons in Red Cross, and kind of whatever gets thrown in my way, just being adaptable to whatever happens. So if we have to have a closure or if we have a guard sick, I'm always willing to help out when need be. My biggest thing is I'm a big to-do task lister, so I like to use my Google Keep because I like to save paper, and also the idea of checking something off is just the most satisfying thing I personally enjoy doing. And as well, I just really like to get everything done by the time after I do my work. I go to my classes in the evening, do my homework, and then pretty much go to bed. So it's pretty much a long day, but at the end, the weekends are always rewarding, knowing I got everything done in a timely manner. And I'm always willing to help out and be flexible because, as we all know, anything could happen and I might have to change everything up. So just knowing everything has to be adaptable to. But overall, thank you.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of coffee and a well-planned day. Biggest takeaways from the student leadership team. But somewhere in the middle of all of that, you have to find some time for leading. It is part of the name, after all, with the student leadership team. So how would you all describe your leadership philosophy or describe your style?
I would say my biggest leadership philosophy or style is probably lead by example. That's one thing I really pride myself on. Not as much off of what I do, but basically I look to my peers, I look to my mentors, and really try to lead the way I see them leading. But I'm not afraid to really take action myself. I'm a pretty outgoing person, I'd like to say. So stepping out of my boundaries and doing something that I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing isn't something that I won't do. I really am not afraid to take the next step. Always wanting to really do what's best for myself, do what I feel is best, and really go with my gut. That's really the type of person that I am. Lead by example is really the way that I like to act in my role as a GA, to really lead, being that I oversee so many student undergraduate staff, but then also make sure that I'm looking up to my mentors and following in their footsteps, because I feel like they have really given me a good path to go on. So why not follow them? But next, I'm going to pass it up to Aaliyah.
Thanks, Jimmy. So a little bit about my leadership philosophy or style. I really think I like to couple my professional values with my personal values, which actually end up being the same thing. But overall, just thinking of the skills and knowledge that I've gained over the years and trying to figure out how I can use my personality and my personability to help lead students to wherever they want to go. So using of diversity, inclusion, relationships, integrity, challenge, those different things, I strive to help students get from point A to point B, and whatever point B is to them, I want to be a part of that. And just doing so with helping students challenge themselves, listening to students' concerns or their really good things that are happening in their lives. But then at the end of the day, one of my biggest goals and philosophies is I want to help students get a voice at whatever table they decide to sit at. And so just using their knowledge and the expertise that they're gaining throughout their experiences, helping them use those things to then impact someone else eventually. Morgan.
All right, and so just to kind of round this out a little bit here, I really see myself as a leader. We're here to serve, whoever you may be leading, whether it's your team or just helping a student who might not even be in your working team. And so the biggest thing that I like to emphasize is building a firm foundation for your team to then build upon and succeed from. And so you're not necessarily holding their hand as they're doing these tasks or succeeding. You are building that foundation for them to be successful. And along with that, I also, within my style, I'm extremely transparent. Sometimes it pros and cons to it, but there's the pros outweigh the cons with that. And so whether it's being transparent of if you've never done something before and you are you're obviously the leader, it's just being transparent with it, coupling that with listening to your students, especially those who may have more experience than you in certain things. Again, that goes back to that firm foundation you're building for your students to then take their expertise and bring it up to help the overall program succeed. And just to move it along here, we're going to go with Kevin over in Canada.
Hello, all. I guess for me, I think it's a little bit tough to really define a leadership style, but if I had to, I would say situational leadership, primarily because I think that every situation is different and sometimes you need to be very hands-on. Other times it calls to be a little bit more hands-off. What I really try to do, I guess, over the course of a semester, for example, is be a little bit more hands-on towards the beginning and hopefully lead the group so that I no longer even need to be there by the end of the semester and they can solve all the problems themselves. I also really value a good question that leads the student to come to the conclusion themselves without you ever even really need to give them the answer. I think that there's a lot of value in that. And one thing I always like to do with students, whether it's during staff evaluations or during debriefs, is use a rose, bud, and thorn. Rose is something that you think you did well. A bud is something that you're learning or working on. And a thorn is something that didn't go so well, but you just have to admit that, hey, it didn't go that well and we're moving on or we're learning next time. And when you ask students those three questions, I think they gain a lot of value and they learn themselves. And they're a little bit more self-aware at the end of the day. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Stephanie.
Awesome. Thank you all for that. It sounds like you're leading both the students on your campus and in your regions in the right direction. So knowing that a lot of your role as a student leader is kind of pointing students in the right directions, how are you making students both on your campus and within the region aware of different opportunities that can be found within NIRSA? And is there any piece of information that you wish every student knew or something that they could take away?
Yeah, I think that that's a phenomenal question. And here at Ohio State, we have something that is run by the graduate assistants called the Student Professional Development Association, SPDA. And in our role with this committee, with this association, we do a really intentional job at creating professional development opportunities for both GAs and undergraduate student employees. And in my current role within NIRSA, I have a lot of information coming in and out about the various opportunities. So I'm really intentional about sharing that, whether it be getting involved as a volunteer with Champ Series, or whether it be upcoming scholarship deadlines, anything along that route. And then I also have been working with Aaliyah, who's clearly here at Ohio State as well. Last year, she did a really incredible job of starting something called Navigating NIRSA that we have for SPDA. And it was an opportunity that we utilized the virtual day and age that we currently live in to connect with people, which we were missing by not having an in-person annual conference. And so this year, we're continuing to try to utilize the newfound opportunities that come along with technology to continue to grow that and see how we can continue to build connections, which was definitely missing after this past year.
All right. I would just say that the way that I increase education awareness about NIRSA to my students is just through constant conversation. So I have a lot of one-on-ones, and I work individually with a lot of my students. And I think sometimes they don't even understand the experiences that they're getting and how they can transfer to maybe other roles that they're going to take on within Rec or outside of Rec. So I would just say it's a constant conversation. I'm someone who is very passionate about my job and what I'm able to do with it. And so I try to relay that passion over to them and help them find their own. And if I had one thing that I could just tell students about NIRSA so they could understand it a little bit better is that anything is possible. I will be the first person to say that I was a person who cried before teaching my first group fitness class because I was scared to be in front of people. And now I'm here in this position. So it's just really cool to see the growth that can happen over just a few short years.
Similar to Kaylee, in regards to students here at Texas A&M, I try to just continue having conversations with students that I know may be interested in the field, maybe those that are studying sport management and things like that, that don't really know that campus recreation is a field that is so large and that they can get involved in. In the region, I'm trying really hard to contact students that may have attended conferences or workshops and things like that, but maybe aren't members yet, just to show them that, we're here if they have any questions, and kind of emphasize the impact that NIRSA can have on them. And if there's one thing about NIRSA that I wish students knew and understood was just the value and the impact of NIRSA and how much it really can develop them. NIRSA really is one of the main reasons that I have been able to grow in my confidence and my skills professionally. So just helping them understand that there's so much value in being a part of this association. And on to Jan.
I feel like the biggest thing is communicating with the students. A lot of them do see us, as especially GAs, as the role model, and just knowing a lot of them always ask, how did I get where I'm at? So always having those one-on-one conversations. In addition, I also pop into other staff meetings I have biweekly and kind of mention what's going on for professional development, whether it's NIRSA, Red Cross, getting your personal trainer certification, or you want to go get your woofer. Like, I'm always providing all opportunities no matter what it is. In addition, something we've implemented here is a positive incentive program. So having individuals be motivated to do well and go above and beyond for resume building. So if they participate in a NIRSA workshop or anything that's in the DEI committees that we provide here on campus at Boise State, they not only get the benefit themselves, but also compete among other staff areas among the rec center, which kind of brings friendly competition. And at the end of the day, it's something they can kick out of than just going to work and getting paid. They're also getting lifelong skills they can take along the road. But overall, I really wish everyone that was a student learned the importance of NIRSA. Even if you're not going in campus direct, there's so many transferable skills you can learn, and the people you meet are people that will really touch your heart, and so you'll meet them for the rest. They'll be important impact for the rest of your life. All right, and give it back to Stephanie for our next question.
Awesome. Thank you all. So in order to take on the role as a student leader, you have to be passionate. So what would you say you're most passionate as a student or as a leader in this position?
I would say the thing that I'm most passionate about is really just the chance to get involved and meet other peers and other students from around, obviously, national in this role, but also within Region 1. Just the opportunities that NIRSA presents and really gives students to be able to let their voice be heard and also make their mark within campus rec as a young professional. I think that's the thing that I'm most passionate about. I think it brings out the best in me, myself, and also it allows me to see that even in the worst times, there's a bright future ahead. And I think that really brings out the best in myself and allows me to grow as a young professional and also see what's right ahead. I, being in my background within intramurals mainly, and then now in facilities mainly, even touching in other areas, I've realized that there's so many avenues of happiness within these fields and so many different ways to go. And I think that's what's really brought out the best in me and allowed me to realize that campus rec and NIRSA are the places that I want to be. But next, I'm going to pass it back to Aaliyah.
Thank you again. So a little bit of what I'm most passionate about has a lot to do with that leadership style and philosophy I spoke to earlier. But if you all remember, I said one of the biggest things I work to do is give students a voice at the table. And I think being in this role has allowed me to do that, specifically as the regional student leader, right? Working with the state student leaders who then work with the students in the state. It's like that chain effect of eventually that information comes to me and I get to be that liaison from the students to the professional staff or those higher ups within NIRSA. And so I think just actually working toward giving students this voice at the table is what I'm most passionate about. So gaining any information I need and then giving it out for whatever students want to be successful. It's just really impactful to be able to be that person.
All right, and I think for me, kind of on the flip side of things, I think just sharing your experiences as a NIRSA student member. Thinking back to when I was an undergrad, if my supervisor, who's a professional NIRSA member, had not pushed me to attend the WRSA conference, I would not be here today. I wouldn't be a graduate assistant. I didn't even know that the industry of campus recreation existed. I just thought it was some just like make-believe job, I guess. I don't really know what I thought at the time, but I just think the general outreach and recruitment, sharing your experiences, your professional and academic story to your students and others who may ask is what is going to get people involved in NIRSA. And so just sharing your experiences, like I said, because if I wouldn't have been pushed to go to the WRSA conference, like I said, I wouldn't be here today. So that's probably one of the most important things that I'm passionate about as a student leader.
I'd probably say development and also a sense of belonging for students. And this isn't just with NIRSA, this is just entirely in campus recreation. I didn't really recognize the impact as much as I thought I had until I was at Windsor. And over the course of 2 years, I had one student in particular that I just saw grow and evolve so much. I recruited him from going to a class call where I was recruiting basketball referees. It was a first-year class. And over the course of the 2 years, I just saw him flourish and develop. And I found out over that period that he was actually a second-year student who came from another institution who didn't enjoy his experience at the other institution. He came to our institution and he was the first person to volunteer for everything. He came an hour and a half early for his first shift, just in case he was going to miss anything. We ended up promoting him during our second year, and you could just see how much campus recreation made an impact to him. And he was even considering doing a master's and doing some work and research in the campus rec field. And when it came to doing tours and all that sort of stuff on campus, He was first to volunteer, and you could just see how much confidence he built as an individual. And I just want to be able to translate that and make more and reproduce that as many times as possible with other students in the future. Back over to Stephanie.
Awesome, thanks. So what I'm hearing is a lot of our stories, we're not the only character in that story. There are other people that are bringing us into it. So knowing this, who's your NIRSA mentor? And what are you going to take away from your time as a leader and apply it to future positions where you could then in turn be a mentor for someone else?
Yeah, I'm so blessed to have so many people that I could turn to and lean on if I have any questions along the way. But for many reasons, Dexter Shorter is someone who I look up to and is a lot of the reasons why I'm here at Ohio State today. We met in a hallway at NIRSA in Boston, and just that serendipitous connection really has transformed into a lifelong friendship that I'm so fortunate to have. And with that relationship, and as I look ahead to being a supervisor and continuing to grow as a professional and potentially becoming a mentor in the future myself, I just think about how those small, minor connections can transform into an incredible relationship, an incredible friendship that can really impact a life forever, like mine will be, because I just said hello to a random guy in a hallway at a massive conference. So I'm really fortunate for Dex, and I am definitely where I am today because of his guidance and his mentorship along the way.
All right, following up from that, I would also agree. I have just been incredibly lucky to have so many built-in mentors throughout my time in recreation. I can name so many names, but just thinking back, Kyle Anderson, Chelsea Phipps, Jenny Rogers are three really influential people that have just really pushed me to be my best self and do what's best for me in all situations. And so I've just been really lucky with the supervisors and pro staff that I've been able to work with over the past 6 years. And I would say one thing that I'm taking away from my time as a leader and hopefully going to apply it to future positions is that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, and that it is really okay to say no if you need to.
Like Kaylee and Sarah said, I've been very, very blessed to have so many leaders and mentors in my time in campus recreation at A&M Corpus Christi, at Texas A&M, and just within NIRSA. But I would have to say that Katie Harmon and Cece Leonard are two of my biggest NIRSA mentors. They are previous Region 4 student leaders, and I met both of them working on the 2018 Student Lead On Committee. And they are, two reasons why I am even here as a NIRSA student leader now. They've always pushed me to go for things that maybe I'm too afraid of, have helped me come out of my comfort zone, and I know that I can always look to them if I have any questions regarding the position. And what I hope to take away from this leadership position to put into future opportunities is just learning from those past leaders and how they've impacted me and the different ways that they did, and hopefully being able to translate that into future students that I have the opportunity to work on and hopefully make a positive impact on.
Thank you, Alyssa. Oh, I really just want to give a shout out to everyone on our SL team. I really look to them up as not even mentors and colleagues, just knowing we're all not alone doing this, especially through everything that's been thrown at us. But as NIRSA mentors, I have to give a shout out to TJ Hill over at Colorado State. He really pushed me to go above and beyond. Ben Burnham at Boise State. He was my supervisor when I was at Colorado. It was the one who pushed me to apply to be the Region 6 student leader. And as well, I really enjoy working with my representative of Ali Bogard. They're an amazing individual and really have opened my eyes on how to really communicate with students and realizing that life is more than just work. And then you get to find that balance. But overall, what I really want to take away as a leader is making sure I leave an impact with everyone I meet and make them aware of what's going on and really rebuild what we have going on in Region 6. We are large and mighty, and making sure we can get more individuals aware of what's going on and providing those resources to everyone. But overall, I hope to increase my network and make lifelong friends. Back to you, Stephanie.
I know I'm personally a big fan of a lot of those names that were mentioned, and we're all lucky to have them on our journey. So thank you for sharing, and thank you to all of them for getting these folks here today. So knowing you have to be confident in order to be a leader, and you've probably had to overcome some challenges, fears, or doubts, things like that, in order to be confident in your roles. How have you done that? We'd be amiss if we didn't have a muted situation today. You want to try to?
Gotta love technology. I'd say really for myself, the biggest thing has always been trying to stay positive, even in the darkest moments. Through a lot of times, that's just been something that I've prided myself off of my whole life. Is really just staying positive, making the most of everything. But there's obviously definitely some challenges that you have to overcome. And I know coming into this role, I honestly didn't know what to expect. It was a time where I really needed to figure it out. I didn't know, or at least going into my senior year of my undergrad, I didn't know what I wanted to do or what path I wanted to take. And if it wasn't for the advice of one of my mentors, Jay Gallagher, I wouldn't be where I am today, or even get myself involved with NIRSA. But he allowed me to stay positive in a moment where I didn't know what to do, and is the reason why I am where I am. And it's really just staying positive, overcoming the obstacles, and trying to make the most of everything. And that's really what has pushed me to be where I am today and be as confident as I am, because I feel like now anything is possible, and I'm just going to go do what I want to do and go as far as I want to go. But I'm going to pass it to Ali again.
Yeah, so being more specific to the Region 3 student leader role, I think something that made me a little bit fearful or not as confident in myself was how much knowledge I had about NIRSA and how much knowledge I needed to be in this position. And the way that I overcame it, I think, is just being vulnerable about that with, honestly, Sarah, with Megan, who is the Region 3 director. And so just being honest with those things and just saying, I'm not really sure what I should be doing in this situation, or I don't have enough information on those things. So as it relates to that fear that I had of not knowing enough, my advice with that would just be, that's why we get into these roles, is you get to continue to learn more and get those experiences that will maybe help you be more confident in the future.
So for me, my biggest challenge has been taking a step back and trying to trust the process. And what I mean by that is I worked for 3 years full-time in between my undergrad and my master's, and I made some pretty good money working in sales. And I decided to come back to an industry that I was really passionate about, being sport and recreation, pursue a master's degree, and kind of take a step back and say, okay, rather than just going for a paycheck, let's go do something that you're passionate about. Fortunately, because I was a little bit of an older student, I maybe had a little bit of a longer leash as I worked in campus recreation in the department and all that sort of stuff at Windsor. But at the same time, there's a lot of things in life that you want to be doing that your colleagues and your peers are doing and stuff at the age of 30 that you aren't necessarily. And so for me, it's trusting the process and trusting that on the other side of the education and everything, that I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be a lot happier than where I was previously. Stephanie.
Awesome. Thank you. We've talked a lot today about what got y'all here, what led you to your student leader position, what led you to your assistantship. What about what's coming up? What are you excited about in the future?
I think I absolutely am the most excited for Portland coming up this upcoming spring in 2022. I'm really excited to come back together and see all of our friends and just really kind of have the connection that we've been longing for over the past year and a half. And so really excited to just be busy and running around the convention center trying to see old friends, make new friends, everything along the way. And I'm also really excited to see what's next for everyone, whether it be undergrads as they look ahead to potentially doing a GA, or all of us on the SLT, where we land and where our next step takes us. I'm just really excited for what is to come in general.
Awesome. I think I would second everything that Sarah just said, but I would also just say, looking kind of in the future, I'm most excited to just continue meeting new people and just finding the little joys that come with working in this field. I'm really excited to meet more students and help them just realize like all that they're capable of when they put their mind to something.
I think long term, I am super excited to enter the field as a professional, hopefully after May, and also really excited to see where all of us land and where our paths take us. I'm also super excited for the 2021 All Regions Virtual Conference and Student Lead On. We've all been working really hard to make sure that everybody has a great experience with that. But I am most excited to echo Sarah and Kaylee about the opportunity to be able to go to Portland in 2022. If you've been to an annual conference, you know that there's not really anything like it. And it really is just a big family reunion of this network that you've made through the years with NIRSA. And I'm so excited to be back in person to be able to do that.
Well, like everyone stole my idea, but I think we're all in the same boat. Portland, I'm really excited to attend my first in-person annual conference. I'm right next door in Idaho, so I just could like smell it, pretty much the ocean over in Portland. It's been amazing. But I feel like on a personal note, just really excited for future advancements. I'm getting in my aquatics, I'm getting my WSIT and LGIT, and also being able to start the job search. Like I eagerly look on Bluefish all the time, and I'm like, is it too soon? Is it not? Well, I'm just excited to see where everyone will end up. Like thinking about 2 years ago, like I wouldn't expect myself to be in the position I'm at now. Then think about in 2 years from now, like what's going to happen. But overall, I'm really excited to see things are changing and want to see more programming, and can't wait to see everyone. So back to you, Steph.
Sounds like there's a lot of exciting things that we should start putting on our calendar coming up. And hopefully there's students out here watching this call today who are hearing this. They're also getting excited. They're wanting to be involved. Sarah, how could they get involved right now if the things on the calendar feel a little too far away?
Yeah, we've got a couple of really awesome things happening this fall. Specifically, we are going to have a virtual 5K team for the NIRSA Foundation 5K fundraiser happening throughout the month of October. So if you would like to get involved and join our 5K team, we would love to have you. Our team is NIRSA students, and it is open to anyone. If you are a student and want to have a $5 off coupon, we also have that as an opportunity. You can reach out to either myself or any of the regional student leaders, and they will give you a promo code so that you can get $5 off, which is super awesome. And like Alyssa mentioned, we have the 2021 All Regions Virtual Conference happening this fall. And on December 3rd, we are going to have our student lead on, which is student-led, student-created for students. And we are really, really excited for having that opportunity to come together, all of the students throughout the entire association. We are just really excited about it. And if you're watching this way, way, way in the future, just always know that there is an open line of communication. You can always reach out to your current NIRSA student leader, your current regional student leader. We want to talk. We want to get you connected. If there's anything that you're interested in, just reach out.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. I know I was taking notes during that of some things to get involved in, and so I'm sure we're not the only ones. But we do want to take the time to give y'all a big thanks, claps, round of applause, whatever you need to show how appreciative we are that you're here for us today. Like she said, if you're watching live, we're excited to have you. If you're watching it on the YouTube, if you're sharing, getting this link later, we really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us RecChat folks and the student leadership team today. Make sure you follow them on social media so you can stay up to date on what they have going on. Yes, but Sarah was typing quickly as I was stalling. It's at NIRSA Students on both Instagram and Twitter. So be sure to give them a follow. Give us a follow, RecChat as well. And thank you all for tuning in today. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.